on the bank accounts, but this is so good. All right, so we're off to the next question. How do you see financial institutions changing moving forward after COVID-19, or are they going to change?
You know what? I don't know. I personally don't think there's going to be a lot of change in terms of
Mm,
product offerings or what they do
okay.
because the bank is pretty all encompassing. I do think it's going to force them to think about small business more. So most
That's good.
banking, we think product or large corporate, and the small business guys kind of get lost in the middle.
Hmm.
And so I think you're going to see a huge focus on that because if one small business goes out of business, and I don't mean any offense, it doesn't mean a whole lot to the government or society or the economy as a whole. But if a bunch of small businesses across many sectors go out of business because of a large thing like COVID-19, that's impactful to the economy as a whole. It impacts everybody.
Well,
So I think you're
well,
going to see them get a little more agile and put a little more focus on small businesses.
Well, just to your point, I mean, the last time I heard the statistics in terms of like just like small businesses, I think they make up like 50% of the workforce, the Canadian workforce. So like it's literally half of all businesses are represented in businesses that are what 100 people or less or something, or
Yeah.
like it's yeah. So it's not, although the corporations are making billions of dollars, they're not necessarily the actual main contributors to the economy, as we think, where they're not the only contributors. The smaller businesses are very much a big part of it, at least as a whole, not necessarily as individual pieces. So to your point, that's really spot on.
Yeah, I also think too, like you'll find that banks are a little more proactive about financial planning for individuals and small business.
Hmm.
So that will help them ensure that less people are caught off guard, that they're receiving less write-offs and less of a hit from a negative perspective. And I think you'll see them, as I mentioned, embracing a lot more technology in terms of how they service people.
Mm, that's good.
But
That's
in terms
good.
of products, I don't think you're going to see a huge change because they really have all the pillars now. How they
The,
offer those to you or get them to you or allow you to work with those products from a technology perspective being more e-commerce based, I think you may see an increase in that, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of product offering changes.
Yeah, I think just outside looking in, I think this is definitely going to make them push really really hard in their digital sort of marketing departments, as well as digital like services. How can we get people, not to say that they don't want brick and mortar, because obviously they love those assets, but the reality is that they're like, we need to get people connected, understanding all the products that we have, all the services that we have available, so that they're locked in and they're connected and they're feeling good about any sort of situation. So I do think that to your point, they are going to probably go really really hard, like many of us are, in really embracing the digital age totally, and not really having those sort of conversations in our head about, well, do I really have to switch now? Is it really time to go totally digital? It's like this, if anything, everybody's learning is that we have to go digital. You know what I mean? It's not even a choice anymore. Like, we have to go digital. We have to have conversations, over the internet. What does
Yep.
that look like, 10, 15, 20 years down the line? So, man, that's crazy. Any other thoughts on that, or you're good?
I think I'm good for that
Okay.
question.
Okay, cool. And our final question before we open up the questions to you and to everybody else is, what um, passions, or sorry, what lessons, I'm sorry, I messed up that question there. What lessons should we learn as creative professionals? So not passions, but lessons.
Yeah, so I would say, even going back to the way it was worded, I think it is less about passion and more about being disciplined in general. So discipline is learned only by practicing it. So if you
Mm.
find that your discipline is weak in an area, the truth is, and I learned this the hard way, it will impact every other